Next up, we have for you, coming all the way from New York City, live, he will appear on our screens very soon, is none other than Dr. Giampapa. Dr. Giampapa is a pioneer in his field. We all know him. We all love him. Are you there, Dr. G? Over to you.
I am here, and I want to say hello to everybody in Australia's. I guess I'm saying that right, Australia and Asia. And I am super excited to bring you a lot of new information tonight and extremely excited about what 2021 brings. So I guess with that, can you hear me well, Rachel? Hello, can you hear me there? Yes? Okay, so I think with that we should get going because I have a lot of new exciting information. You know, 2021, we've all made a commitment to re-educate virtually all the Jeunesse family about the power and science behind the products that are in the Yes system. And I think we frequently have taken advantage of this because we don't realize the amount of information and science that has been used to create these amazing products. So the Yes system is just full of that major effort by all the doctors on the advisory board. But my goal today is to re-educate you about AM/PM. So with that, we'll move to the next slide. Okay, so you know, our bodies are made up of, as you know, two different types of cells, our body cells and our stem cells. And, you know, up until maybe a dozen years ago, we really had very little knowledge about stem cells. And one of the key things that I decided to build into a new form of supplement was something that would help enhance the health and function of both our body cells and our stem cells. Now, this is a giant leap beyond what vitamins and minerals alone can do. I'm not sure how many of you realize, but even if you take the perfect quantity and types of vitamins and minerals, research has shown it does very little to extend your longevity, and it may not do much at all to help with your stem cell function, which is now we know one of the most important things we need to do as we age if we want to stay healthy. Next, please. So AM/PM is an exciting new concept, and most of us, again, take this for granted. But AM/PM is all about 24-hour nutritional supplementation to both our body cells and stem cells. Now, virtually all other companies in our marketplace have a vitamin mineral supplement. And what's funny is very few people even talk about the needs for different types of supplementation for our cells in the morning as opposed to the evening. So one of the research components of AM/PM was to look at how important was sleep and how important was energy and focus when I was creating this whole product. And so what this is all about is 24-hour nutrition, not just once a day in the morning, because throughout the day, your body needs a load of not only antioxidants, but a number of other key compounds we're going to talk about in a minute. But particularly at night, one of the most important things to do is not only get sleep, but to be able to go through your body to actually enhance its ability to detoxify the things that it's been exposed to throughout the day. So 24-hour nutrition is one thing that, again, another thing that makes AM/PM outstanding, along with its focus on improving stem cell and body cell function. Next. And the next one. So taking a look at AM/PM, and one of the key things, again, most of us forget is that AM/PM has ingredients that I've chosen to help actually turn back on the genes that are involved when we're young and healthy, and turn down the genes that are involved as we get older, including things like inflammation genes, high cholesterol genes, et cetera, so on. So AM/PM is also based on a whole new science of what we call gene activity or epigenetics. And we're going to go into that I'll just a little bit more in a second. One of the key things we have to keep in mind is that if we don't sleep, okay, at least 7 hours a day, here's what goes on. We not only decrease the effectiveness of our immune system, but we dramatically open ourselves up to a number of other diseases, including depression, weight gain. We create a situation in our bodies, for instance, that may actually help certain types of cancers to grow. So sleep and detoxification are one of the most important things we need to make sure we maintain as we get older. On the other hand, AM is full of key ingredients that help regulate a different kind of group of genes. And these genes are involved in helping us with mental focus, energy, but also turning on specific genes that are involved in longevity and health. And those are called sirtuin genes. And we've heard a lot about those genes in the last few years that are directly related to enhanced health. And before I'm done, I'm going to talk to you about our new product, Life NMN, which also directly is related to these longevity genes and energy as well. Next. So one of the key things, if we can go to the next slide, one of the key things that we really need to take into our diet on a daily basis is antioxidants. And why is that important is because, frankly, most of the damage that occurs to our bodies is directly related to how our genes are activated or how our, quotes, what I call genetic software is damaged. Without the right types and amounts of antioxidants, the damage to our DNA is dramatically increased. And frankly, I've had many patients come to me and say, look at all these antioxidants I'm taking every day. Why am I not doing well? Well, there's an amazing thing that happens if you take the wrong types of antioxidants and too many of certain antioxidants, you can actually accelerate the aging process. And this is not talked about a lot, but this is one of the most important things we wanted to make sure I shared with you. And again, this is another thing that really helps AM/PM stand out, is the right quantity and types of antioxidants. So let's take a look at the next slide. So the next slide is really important because one of the key things that allows us to maintain our health, youthful function, memory, and learning capacity is our telomeres. You know, in every one of the 100 trillion cells in our body, we have these little, look like X figures that are part of our chromosomes. And if you're ideally healthy, the way nature has actually designed human beings is we get about 50 copies of the cells in our body. And what that means is that every time there's a copy, that little telomere, the cap on the edge of that little X figure, gets shorter and shorter until eventually our cells don't divide anymore. So one of the things we have to keep in mind is getting the right nutrition and natural herbal and plant extracts that can actually help maintain the length of those telomeres and allow our cells to function longer and more efficiently. So, and that's also included in AM/PM. Now, the next most important thing is stem cells. You know, we're born with a fixed number of stem cells. So if you have a poor lifestyle or you are involved in unhealthy activities, you use your stem cells up much, much quicker. And until recently, there really wasn't much to do to replace those fixed number of stem cells you're all born with. One of the reasons why women live slightly longer than men is because they tend to have a greater number of stem cells as well as slightly longer telomeres. So nature's kind of helped the women out in that category. But again, we've made sure that when we're looking at AM/PM, what else does AM/PM have that can be a big help? So let me just make a comment. You know, almost twice as many women have problems with their intestines. Okay. And why are intestines important is because about 70% of our immune function comes from our intestines. 95% of the serotonin, which is our mood enhancing hormone, comes from our intestines. So, and when you look at how important intestines are to our health in general, without the right probiotics and prebiotics, our intestines don't maintain the right intestinal flora, and that impacts dramatically our immune function as well. So AMPM also has the key ingredients to help with maintaining all of these key functions as well. So let's take a look at this. Next slide. You know, we did an interesting study a number of years back when I first finished the formula for AMPM. AM has 70 different ingredients. PM has 77 different ingredients. So if you had to go to the store and actually buy each one of those ingredients separately, there is virtually no way you could swallow 70 tablets in the morning and 77 tablets or capsules in the evening. So the technology behind taking those core supplements and ingredients and putting them into 2 tablets in the morning and 2 in the evening, having slightly different compounds to help regulate our bodies, was an amazing task that took a number of years as well. And by the way, we happen to take a look at, if we were to duplicate the ingredients in both A and PM, it would cost almost $450 to $500. So we're looking at a science, and not just about the right ingredients, about how to keep our stem cells and body cells healthy, but a technology that had to be created actually to create the product. So again, I'm trying to reinforce how unique this product is, and so far beyond the vitamins and minerals you might be hearing other companies telling you about. So I mentioned briefly about AMP being based on this new science of learning what specific compounds can actually turn up certain genes and down the bad genes that are active in the youth, in our aging process. So AMPM has been exactly that. It is really based on the research of what plant extracts, what herbal extracts can actually be included to help regulate the activity of those genes when we were present, and we were youthful, and they were present at that time. Next slide, please. So here's the little analogy that basically the compounds we use can actually turn up or down those genetic switches to help us experience a more youthful and a more healthy period of life. Next, please. So how do I know that, what I'm saying isn't just theory? A little over 2 years ago, we were lucky enough to have a group of people help us with a study, which we now call the China study. At that time, live animal cells and human cells were tested, which were exposed to the actual ingredients in AM and PM. And what was amazing is both of these products helped turn on the sirtuin genes, which are what we now know are related to longevity, but also related to repairing our DNA. And what we found out was both of these compounds also helped with enhancing stem cell function, stem cell duplication, and turning stem cells into the right type of cells that we need to stay healthy and regenerate our tissues. Now, no other product had ever been even had this initial state of proof. So again, what makes AMPM uniquely different from any other supplement you might hear of is we're working at the level inside the cells at our genes with these ingredients. Next, please. So it came to me that, frankly, one of the key things we really need to do now is come up with a test to prove to every one of you there that the supplements you're taking, and not just AMPM, but the YES systems, actually make a difference in how you age, and where do they make that difference inside your cells at the level of your genes, which is where all this begins. So right now we have already finished a new home test kit, and I want you to listen to this carefully, which will allow you to see how quickly you're aging at this point in time, which will allow you to see your biological age compared to your chronological age. That is to see if you're physically older than the numbers of birthdays you've had. Not only will this test help you with that, it'll allow us to look at your immune function, your telomere length, a host of so many other things that are related to cellular aging. And we've just finished finalizing these tests, and this is something that has a real possibility of being available in this year, and hopefully in the next quarter, second or third quarter. So we need not only to maintain great products, but we at Jeunesse need to document that the products we create are cutting edge science, and we need to be able to actually help our distributors see the difference in how the aging process is being managed and progressing with all of the Yes system products in general. Okay, next slide, please. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is that you've all been taking AM, PM, and you may not have actually remembered the amount of science and impact that goes into this product. It is, without a question, one of the most experiential products in the Yes system. It dramatically helps with sleep. It helps with energy. But more importantly, these two formulas are designed to work together. And I do see a lot of people say to me, Dr. G, I just take the PM because it helps me sleep. I don't really feel a big difference with AM. Let me make a comment. If you take the AM and PM products together, you will even sleep better and you'll even have more energy because they have been designed to work as a unit together to balance that 24-hour nutritional cycle inside your body. But let's take a quick look at a product that we just launched in the US, which I believe without a question was the missing link in the Yes system. Next slide. So Life NMN, what is this all about? Now, although it's not been launched in Australia, it's something you can get for your personal use from the company on the back cart. So here's the situation. All the research in the last 3 or 4 years has documented this specific ingredient called NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, was the compound that's naturally found in every one of our cells. But what's interesting is as we age, we dramatically lose that compound. And guess what that compound does? That compound is the precursor or the beginning, the necessary compound to make NAD and ATP, which are the two sources of energy in our cells. And without that energy, the genes that have been activated can't work at their full capacity. So we have AM/PM as the product that helps restore the right groups of genes, but we still needed a way to enhance the energy to turn on those genes at their optimal level. Life NMN was designed to do that. So Life NMN is also unique in that it contains 6 ingredients. When we look at other companies' products with NMN in general, they have 1 or 2. But let me explain to you why I put 6 ingredients together for this product. First of all, NMN is one of the most important things our bodies need as we get older to create that cellular energy. Number 2, the concept of adding other ingredients that we know actually help our bodies inside our cells make more ATP as well, aside from just NMN, was a compound called PQQ. Now, PQQ has been documented to help with ATP production, and some research has actually shown it helps make more of those tiny little organs inside our cells called mitochondria that make the ATP. Now, on the other hand, I looked at what other compounds can help turn on key groups of genes that add to longevity. And pterostilbene is a relative of resveratrol, but much more bioabsorbable, that actually helps turn on the sirtuin genes as well for longevity and health and extended health, but also helps turn on the genes for DNA repair. Again, we talked about what triggers the aging process is damage to that DNA or our genetic software. That really is what initiates the first signs of the aging process. All right, so we also looked at, everybody has these compounds, but the biggest problem with all this as we age is we don't absorb everything that we take in. So my goal was to create a special system to help with absorption, a dual absorption system. So the first thing I added was bioperin, which is a pepper extract that helps with absorption from our intestines. So as soon as we swallow those tablets, we want more of those key ingredients to go into our bloodstream. The second problem was once they get into the bloodstream, how do we deliver those key ingredients inside the cell? And with my research, I decided to use L-citrulline, which is an interesting product. In the body, it gets converted eventually to nitric oxide. And if we've all heard of Viagra does the same thing. It vasodilates the tiny little blood vessels throughout our body and actually nitric oxide helps deliver all the other ingredients in Life NMN to the level of the cell. So when we're looking at other companies' products with NMN, it's not how much NMN is in that product, it's how much gets absorbed and delivered to our cells to do the job that we all really need, is to create more cellular energy. Next slide, please. So if you take a look at this slide, what you're going to see is that between 40 and 60 years of age, we lose 50% of that cellular energy inside each one of the 100 trillion cells of our body, including our stem cells. And is there any wonder why we don't feel that energy or mental focus, or our cells can't function and keep us healthy? If they don't have the energy, they just can't do that. And that was the case. Next. So let's take a look at what happens inside the cell. So inside the cell, NMN can be directly absorbed and go right into the cell and then create more NAD and eventually the ATP energy molecule. Now, on the other hand, NMN can also convert outside the cell to NR, or nicotinamide riboside, which then goes into the cell also, but gets converted back to NMN. So many of these new products that say they help with cellular energy are NR. Now, why would you want to take a compound that has to get converted back into NMN to make energy when you can just take your NMN and directly make the cellular energy that you need? So this is something to keep in mind when people say, well, we have a product that does ATP and NAD as well, and it's NR. This is the latest research on what the research centers at Harvard and at multiple other places in the country have finally found out. Next slide. So when you look at inside our cell, we all have these little organelles that look like tiny little sausages called mitochondria. And frankly, these are one of the most important things inside our cells. They actually have their own form of DNA. And the nucleus has a different form of DNA, both kind of forms of genetic software, if you will. But as we age, the ability of those little organelles to make ATP decreases. And guess what else they do? They make the major source of free radicals that actually cause a problem with both our nuclear and our mitochondrial DNA. So what is the secret to help avoid that is if we can help those little organs make more ATP, there's less free radical formation, there's more energy, and we just stay healthier longer. Next, please. Okay. So what's the whole focus here with what was missing from the YES system was pretty obvious to me was, look, these are all great products. They work from the inside out, outside in. They work synergistically. They're experiential. And this has carried our company to new heights because people felt the difference and saw the difference. But what we needed was something else to restore the energy levels to even make all of those products work even better. And for us to feel the difference even more so with our sleep and our energy focus. So Life NMN and AMPM are some of the two most complementary products that actually, I believe, finally round out the key concepts involved in cellular aging. And if you think you had a big positive impact on taking AMPM before, when you take these two products together, it's going to be a noticeable enhancement in both sleep and energy. But most importantly, at the unseen level, those genes that are involved in extended health and longevity are going to be potentially even more activated. So I'm extremely excited about the combination of these new products as well as the YES system products, and potentially being able to test, and each one of us test and see how we're aging as individuals and actually see the impact on the YES system products. Without a question, I believe 2021 is going to take Jeunesse to all new heights in a whole new level of science, a whole new level of credibility, and most importantly, a whole new level of attracting new distributors who are going to be amazed by the quality and quantity of science that keeps Jeunesse heads above just about every other company in our marketplace. And I am super excited to help contribute to that information. And I am available for webinars to help every one of our countries and every one of our key distributors to bring this message, to re-educate our distributors, and to make them realize the value of the science behind both our company, the Yes system, and where we're heading in the future. So with that, I'd like to thank you both and all of you here, and thank Rachel for inviting me. And just keep in mind, if you have any questions, if you about anything we discussed tonight, please send them to Rachel. I'll make sure we answer as many as we can. I want to wish you a healthy future, and look forward to living a more youthful, functional, and longer life with the science from Jeunesse. Thank you.
Jeunesse family, once again, thank you, Dr. Giampapa. Thank you so much for serving.